Ladies and gentlemen, there's something truly powerful about silence. It speaks louder than words, cuts deeper than any argument, and leaves a lasting impact on those who once thought they could treat you as an afterthought. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, it is the presence of strength, the ultimate weapon against those who sought to undermine you. And when you master it, you become untouchable. Today, I want to talk about something that is haunting them far more than any revenge you could take: the deafening silence you left behind after their disrespect. They expected rage, they expected confrontation, but what they never expected was your indifference, and that is driving them insane. When someone disrespects you, they do it for one reason: to control you. They want a reaction, they want proof that they have power over your emotions, and they thrive on the chaos that follows. They are prepared for the shouting match, the aggressive comebacks, the back and forth, where they can twist your words and manipulate the situation in their favor. They expect you to break, to beg for clarity, to demand an explanation, because to them, your reaction is confirmation that they still matter to you. They don't care about the words exchanged, they care about the energy they drain from you. And that is why the moment you choose silence, you rob them of their victory. You see, silence is not weakness. It is the purest form of power. It is the decision to protect your peace rather than fight for the attention of those who do not deserve it. It is the refusal to be reduced to their level, the choice to let go of validation from people who have already proven their worthlessness. And that silence, it is suffocating them, because now they are forced to sit with themselves, with the weight of their own actions, with the consequences of what they did. You are no longer playing their game, and without your participation, the game ceases to exist. They expected you to beg for their attention, to plead for an apology, to prove your worth. They thought you needed them to see your value, but instead, your silence is forcing them to recognize their own emptiness. And that realization is tormenting them. Your silence is a mirror, reflecting their own flaws, their insecurities, their lack of character. It forces them to face the truth, that they were not as important to you as they believed, that they held no real power over you, and that you are not mourning their absence. That is the part they cannot stand. They sit there replaying the moment they crossed the line, expecting you to reach out, waiting for the text, the call, the moment you break. And with every second that passes without a response, the reality sinks deeper into their mind. This time, they have truly lost you. The weight of that silence is unbearable, because it means they are no longer relevant in your world. It means they no longer have access to your thoughts, your emotions, or your time. It means they no longer have control over your mind. And that is driving them mad. You see, they thought you would always fight for their respect, that you would always try to explain yourself, that you would always seek their approval. But now, your silence is telling them everything they need to know. You have moved on, you have let go, and you no longer care. And that truth is eating them alive. It's in the way they check their phone, hoping for a message that never comes. It's in the way they hear echoes of your absence in rooms that once felt full. It's in the way they realize that their disrespect did not break you, but only made you stronger. There is something haunting about knowing that someone you once had power over no longer acknowledges your existence. It creates a void, a space that cannot be filled with apologies or second chances. Because silence is final. It does not argue, it does not plead, it does not seek revenge. It simply moves forward, leaving the past exactly where it belongs, behind. And that is what kills them the most. They don't just miss your presence, they miss the power they once had over you. They miss the way they could manipulate your emotions, the way they could twist your reality. But now, all they have is the deafening silence that reminds them of their own irrelevance. Understand this: when you refuse to engage, when you refuse to explain yourself, when you refuse to give them the satisfaction of a reaction, you are not just protecting your peace. You are making a statement that says, I do not need your validation. I do not need your apology. I do not need you. And that is a message more powerful than any words you could ever say. Because silence leaves room for interpretation. It allows their mind to wander, to spiral, to question every decision they made. It leaves them wondering, did I push too far? Did I underestimate them? Will they ever return? And those unanswered questions will haunt them far longer than any argument ever could. You see, people often mistake kindness for weakness. They assume that your patience is an invitation to be taken for granted. They confuse your loyalty with an inability to walk away. But when you finally do, when you leave without a word, when you stop explaining, stop proving, stop defending, suddenly they realize the mistake they made. They start to see that the respect they once took for granted was something they should have cherished. And by the time they understand that, it is already too late. Because silence is not just the absence of noise, it is the presence of closure. Think of it this way. If words are weapons, silence is the bullet they never saw coming. It is the unseen force that lingers long after the conversation is ended. It is the echo of a door that has closed permanently. And once you master it, you become unstoppable. Because now, you are no longer reacting, you are observing. You are no longer fighting, you are rising above. You are no longer engaging, you are evolving. And that evolution is something they will never be able to reach. The most powerful people in this world are not the loudest, not the ones who seek constant validation, not the ones who feel the need to prove themselves at every turn. No, the most powerful people are those who know when to walk away, when to disengage, when to let their silence speak for them. Because silence is not just a response, it is a lesson. A lesson that teaches them that actions have consequences. A lesson that reminds them that not everyone will tolerate disrespect. A lesson that proves that the real power has always belonged to the one who does not need to fight for it. So let them wonder. Let them sit with the weight of their own choices. Let them drown in the silence they never expected. Because at the end of the day, your silence is not just your strength. It is your closure, your liberation, your final message. And the best part, you never had to say a word. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them make up stories to justify their own guilt. But you walk away with your head held high, knowing that the silence you left behind is doing far more damage than any argument ever could. Because in the end, your silence after their disrespect is not just killing them, it is reminding them of everything they lost. And that, my friends, is the sweetest revenge of all. And as time passes, the weight of your silence only grows heavier on them. At first, they might pretend not to care. They might act as if your absence doesn't bother them, as if they never needed you in the first place. But deep down, in the quiet moments when no one is watching, they feel it. The void, the emptiness left behind by someone who once cared, someone who once listened, someone who once gave them the benefit of the doubt. And now, there is nothing but silence. You see, people are not haunted by the noise of an argument. They are haunted by the silence that follows it. Because an argument means there is still something left to fight for, an explanation, a resolution, a chance at redemption. But silence is the end. It is the final chapter in a story they thought would never close. It is the realization that they have been cut off, that they no longer have access to your thoughts, your emotions, your world. And the moment they recognize this, the regret starts to creep in. They wonder if they miscalculated, if they pushed too far, if they underestimated you. And with every passing day that you remain silent, their insecurity grows. They begin to question themselves, to overanalyze every interaction, to search for signs that maybe, just maybe, you still care. But the silence remains. And in that silence, they are left alone with their thoughts, their guilt, their realization that they have lost something they cannot replace. The truth is, most people do not realize the value of what they had until it is gone. They assume that you will always be there, always willing to listen, always ready to forgive. They take your presence for granted, mistaking your kindness for obligation. But when you finally choose yourself, when you choose peace over chaos, self-respect over validation, they are left with nothing but memories. And memories cannot be argued with. They cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be undone. They will replay your last conversation in their head, dissecting every word, every moment, every decision that led to your silence. They will think about what they could have said differently, how they could have handled things better, how they should have appreciated you when they had the chance. But it is too late, because while they are trapped in the past, you are already moving forward. While they are drowning in regret, you are embracing the freedom that comes with letting go. And that is what truly kills them. Not just your silence, but your indifference. The fact that you are no longer emotionally invested. The fact that they are no longer a priority in your life. The fact that they no longer have the power to affect you. That is the ultimate loss. Not your words, not your anger, not even your absence, but the realization that they have become irrelevant to someone who once cared. They might try to provoke you, to test you, to see if they can still get a reaction. They might throw indirects, spread rumors, try to insert themselves into your life in any way possible. But none of it works, because silence is not just about not speaking, it is about not engaging. It is about showing them, through your complete lack of response, that they no longer have control, that they no longer exist in your world, that their actions no longer have meaning to you. And as time goes on, they will begin to feel the full weight of their mistake. They will start to see that the respect they once took for granted was something rare, something valuable, something they should have cherished. But respect, once lost, is not easily regained. Trust, once broken, is not easily repaired. And some losses are permanent. That is the lesson your silence teaches them. That actions have consequences. That people are not infinite resources to be used and discarded at will. That once someone decides to walk away, no amount of guilt, regret, or justification can bring them back. So let them sit with it. Let them feel the silence. Let them experience what life is like without you. Because in the end, your silence is not just the absence of words, it is the presence of power. It is the strongest message you could ever send. And it is a message that will echo in their mind long after you've moved on. Because the truth is, silence is not weakness. It is not defeat. It is not running away. Silence is a statement. Silence is closure. Silence is the final nail in the coffin of a relationship that no longer serves you. And once you master it, once you truly embrace it, you will realize that you were never the one who lost anything. They were. And now, all they have left is the sound of their own regret.